Welcome to another Coach's CatChat. Joe Stewart here with head Linfield baseball coach Dan Spencer just a few days before the start of the 2025 season. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, looking forward to practice and looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, you got to be. It's always a fun time of year. You always start getting that baseball feeling around campus, and excited to see what the guys can do this weekend. We'll get into that in a little bit, but how's this January kind of treated you, treated the team? You got some new faces, but a lot of returners as well, and generally, what's kind of the buzz been like these last couple of weeks leading up to the season here?
You know, we're very cautiously optimistic. Things have been pretty good. Guys are healthy for the most part. The guys that, especially the guys that need to be healthy. We had a couple of weeks of cold, dry weather, so we were outside a lot. It's been really pretty good. We were able to, the guys rallied and got 3 inches of snow off the ground, on Friday, so we could scrimmage on Saturday, play 18 innings against a couple of junior colleges. So, that was great. So we're in as good a position as we could be to get a year started.
So looking back at last year, 19-20, 12-12 in conference, definitely a year with some ups and downs, and I know it probably didn't quite finish the way you guys were hoping, but definitely some positives. Lots of returners, as we mentioned, and lots of new talent, guys that probably expect to play here in this first year. You've brought in a lot of freshmen, brought in some transfers. I know you've been liking to work the portal the last couple of years. Overall, right now, with a few days to go, how do you kind of evaluate your roster makeup?
I think our roster makeup is, on paper we have a good club, and that means, that on paper you have a good club. So the names are good. There's a lot of good players over in that clubhouse, but you still have to play, and you have to play as a team, and you have to take care of each other, and that will, determine how we do. And I think they will. To date, they've done those things that good teams do. They rally around each other. They work hard in the weight room. They work hard at practice, and so we'll see. Yeah, I think that last year I was very proud of last year's club for a lot of reasons, but especially losing 3 key arms to injury early with Alder and Struckmeyer and being the big two, but losing guys out of your rotation and a key reliever, and then rallying and being actually putting yourself in a pretty good position with some crazy things that happened to us at the end of the year. And I think that we didn't quite get. Maybe we got what we deserved because it's a long season. But you'd like to think that maybe some of our guys that will carry over into this year as far as understanding that we're talking about one game. We're talking about one win in conference and playing in the tournament. And so and that win can come anywhere. So it can come in game 1 or 24 in conference, but I think the thing is consistency. We like our pitching. We like the depth in our pitching. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Interesting time for the Northwest Conference right now. We had a lot of player turnover. We got some coaching turnover.
Sure.
And we always know that this is a competitive league, 1 through 9, and there's never going to be an easy weekend. It's always going to be a battle in those last couple of weeks of April. This year, are there any kind of specific goals for the team, or are you seeing it more as especially here early on, taking it one game at a time?
No, I don't think. I think we do. I think we have a goal. We want to win the conference. We think that we have enough. We have the players. Enough players, and if guys stay healthy, and we think we can win the conference. Now again, there's other clubs that think they can win the conference, so it's not like it's the baseball conference in the NWC is unlike a lot of the other conferences, the sports in our conference where it's maybe top heavy, or maybe there's a lot of parity, and there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of clubs. And even last year with PLU finished last, and they were 3 games out of a tournament deal. So, and it's so anybody can beat anybody, and I think that you got to show up every day. And so that's kind of the message that we preach. You got to stack days, positive days, whether they're in November or January or March. There's something to do. There's rent is due every day, and so our guys have done a good job so far living that.
I was waiting for that. I know at this point these guys know that by heart every day.
They do know that. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, But then the good thing is they know it, and most of them are doing it, so it's a pretty good deal.
Okay, offensively, a lot of improvement from 2023,
Sure.
but still kind of middle of the pack. Again, we know how tough this league is. How would you describe what you're seeing here in the preseason, and what are you looking forward to about the team's approach at the plate this year?
I think that we have an interesting blend. We have a blend of, obviously we bring back some firepower with Maris and Holm and Marr and Kling and you don't let me forget anybody. But Wainfeld's a good player.
It's a long list.
Lewis is back. We need him to be healthy all year. We need him to be right because he's a catalyst. Hurley is a good player and had a good year. So, and we've added some guys. That, obviously losing Jake Hoskins is a tough one. That's tough. And Danny Kahn played for a long time here, and even though he didn't have as good a year as he's had in the past last year, he's still an old guy and did things. But we have we like Eisenhut, a new kid, a sophomore junior college kid. We loved Manser, a junior college kid. We have a really good young infielder in Wyatt McClory, who's a freshman, who's a really good player. So there's a lot of competition. Kassler's been great this spring. So, I think there's an opportunity there to have some real maturity in the lineup as far as guys that have had at bats, and there's a value to being old. If you're, especially when they're old guys that have played, and so they have a lot of at bats. I think that we're gonna. I think we're gonna have more power this year. I think that it has a chance to be a really good offense, and we have some guys you can actually have old guy conversations with offensively about approach and about, hey, what exactly we're trying to do, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah, a lot of difference between a lineup with guys that have seen 200, 300 college at-bats and guys that have seen 50, right?
Yes, no doubt about it. And, I think that's just kind of the way of college baseball. Whatever level you're talking about, college baseball, everybody's trying to get older. And that's tough on the young guys. It is. But, people are trying to get older, and with rosters shrinking at the Division I level, there's a lot of players out there, and believe me, we wish they were all at Linfield, but they're everywhere in our conference. There's a lot of good players in our conference.
All right, let's talk about your pitching staff, and then we'll go around the diamond defensively a little bit. But this three-man rotation, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty tough group. Obviously, Jake Swenson, the kid, Northwest Conference Freshman of the Year last year. Cam Orem, bringing him back, and he was as reliable of a number one starter that we've seen for Linfield in a while. But the big name you brought in, of course, Zach Johnson, the transfer from University of Portland, one of the top programs in the Northwest. Right. What are you liking about this rotation? It seems like they're going to be pretty formidable.
Well, I think that we like them all. Obviously, we feel like we don't go 1, 2, 3. We feel like we can go 1, 1, 1. We feel like that we should have the if we don't have the starting pitching advantage in every game we play in, then it's going to be a draw, because I think we're in a position where we can run out a guy at the front that's as good or better than everybody we play, up until we play somebody late. And so we feel really good about that. And with that being said, we also understand they got to pitch out of the pen to win, and we like those guys too. But Johnson, we're going to kind of stick him right in the middle between Orem and Swenson. He's a little more upright right-hander. He has a little more carry in his fastball as far as the difference between Swenson and Orem, with a little more sink. But I think anybody in the conference would love to have those three guys. I know Fox likes their pitching, and PLU likes their pitching, and they're good, and they're good pitching. But we feel like that's an advantage here at Linfield for us.
Bullpen-wise, a lot of veterans there. Brian Mannion, Gavin Ludlow, Jackson Coons, and you mentioned Nick Alder and Wyatt Hurley. How are those guys doing health-wise? And it seems like depth in the bullpen is something that could be a strength this year.
It should be. We like Alder is close. He's almost ready to pitch. So hopefully, maybe not this weekend, but maybe ready and available for Fox in the first weekend of conference. Hurley is just hitting this year, not pitching, and he's healthy, and that's good. He's just going to play offense this year, and that's okay. Coons has been solid this fall, or this spring. Who's the other name? Mannion's been good. Mannion will be good. We've added. Ludlow's been terrific. You always get. He's one of our. he's one of my favorite guys just because there's no nonsense. There's no, you always know what you get. He can go out and give 10 hits in a row up, and you wouldn't know if he got 3 guys in a row out. Same guy. And the next day it wouldn't matter either way. He'd run back out and attack again. So he's got the perfect temperament to pitch at the end of the game. We like Zach Hampson, the redshirt freshman, we think is going to be really good out of the pen. We really like Colton Ouellette from Reno. We really think he's going to be good out of the pen. We added a kid at the break, a left-hander, Cooper Justice, who we think is going to be something we needed because we needed a left-handed curveball, and he brings that. And he also brings 6'6", 225 pounds, so that's good too. It's a different look. So we like the pen. Those jobs are being hotly contested. Emerson Dennis has gotten better, and he's healthy. I think Cosmo Lang has gotten better, and he's ready to go. So I think there's a lot of competition there, and I think hopefully that we get to play 20 or 36 innings this weekend and get to see some of those guys, because those 3 guys at the front, as we get rolling, they're going to hog some innings. So there's going to be a lot of competition for whatever they leave out there for them.
Good. Well, excited to see what that brings out of these guys. It sounds like you got a lot of options for a lot of different matchups. Defensively, I know that's been the calling card for your program since you got here. And last year, top 20 defense nationally. Somehow, still, there was only 6th for fielding percentage in the conference. Just shows how gritty this conference can be.
Right.
But always an area where this team hangs its hat. You return a lot of guys like we talked about. Key replacements to make, namely Jake Hoskins, Danny Kahn, in the infield there. Holding steady with Nick Holm at first base. Are you moving Maris back to third? Is he holding things down at short? I know you mentioned McClory. How's that filling out?
I think we will leave Elijah at short. Leave Elijah at short. Obviously Nick will play first, and then we have kind of those, the McClory, Eisenhut, Manser. McClory can play both spots. Manser's been playing mostly third. Eisenhut can play second, play third. Eisenhut actually played some third in junior college too. So those 3 guys are kind of they're in the mix for those 2 spots. There's others, but it's really the depth is provided by Nick Holm can move across and play third if you had to have that for a while. Wyatt Hurley can play first. Kassler can play first. So we have some other options there. We're really trying to figure out, Mar's the best catcher in the conference. We're trying to figure out, who to back him up with. Do we back him up with 2 guys? We've always, like you said, and I appreciate that, tried to be good defensively, with the understanding that protects your pitching. We haven't always. We're getting there. We're getting there with bodies, like I said, with the injuries in our bullpen. You win at the end of the year with you win the games you win late, and the games are won. Championships are won by how good you are on the mound. They're not really won by how many runs you can score. They're usually if you look at the conference standings at the end of the year, and the 4 teams that play in the conference tournament had the best 4 teams that had the best pitching, but if you don't defend with that pitching, then you can hurt it. So that's the goal. Obviously, we knew we needed to get better offensively last year, and we needed to take another step. And I think we will.
You mentioned Tyler Marr there leading the way with that catching group.
Right.
What are you liking out of that group? You brought in a couple of transfers to back him up.
Right.
He's another guy who's recovering health-wise, but we know how great he can be when he's healthy.
Yeah, he's a really good player. He's a really good player. Those other 3 guys, the other guys there, Caden Gould's a freshman from North Eugene, and he's got the right body. He's just young. He doesn't have a college at bat, and he can throw. Brody Lyman is a kid that transferred from the University of Hawaii. He's also a freshman, doesn't have a college at bat. Keegan Weston is a kid with some experience that came from Montana State Billings, and so he has some experience, and he's a great kid. They're all good kids, solid players, with a chance to be better. But somebody will emerge. There's going to be some opportunities, obviously, when you play, like this weekend. You play 4 games in 3 days, and somebody else is going to have to catch, and besides Mar. And so, we need to make sure we develop, and we develop another guy or 2, and kind of see where that goes.
A lot of depth in the outfield as well. You mentioned Matthew Lewis, having him healthy, how big of a thing that would be. We know Hunter Klingelhofer, how great he can be. Jackson Bowie, Trent Wainfeld. You got guys
Yep.
in the outfield. How do you even sort through all of them, and who's kind of impressing you from that group?
The guys, too, the other guy that's a freshman in that group that's going to be as good or better than all of them maybe in a year, he's a really good player, Rylan Gullard. And, for him this year, he's going to spend some time watching those older guys get after it. But Gullard's a great player. I think that we have a chance to play a little matchup there because there are 2 left-handed hitters in that group, or 3 with Kassler, because Kassler's been in right field too. So I think with the 3 right, 3 left, I think there's some things you can do there against a left-handed starter. I think there's some opportunities for matchups against certain pitchers just based on the type of hitter Wainfeld is or Bowie is. Bowie's a very talented guy that has some experience, but they all have a package. They all have an offensive package. They all have something they can bring, and it's just my job, our job, to try to get them in the right order to kind of see how good we can be on offense, and obviously play the hot guy. Try to keep the hot guy going and in the lineup.
Looking at this weekend, Friday, Tacoma Schools coming down, 1-1 against PLU and Puget Sound, and then Whitman doubleheader on Sunday after the day of rest, playing the non-conference games against conference opponents here. What do you and the staff want to see out of your guys this weekend?
Well, I think we just want to see is how good can we be, in each game. How can we stack? Can we stack them together? Can we be consistent? Can we, do the things we think we can that we've practiced to do against another opponent? It was good for us last weekend to see a couple of. To see somebody in another uniform and play them in a scrimmage setting, but it's not the same. Bellevue Community College and Mountain Hood Community College are both very solid programs, but they're not UPS and PLU, and so when those guys come in, it'll be, and they've played some people already, so that's great too. So just to play somebody else. And give you kind of a place to start, measuring yourself and where you're at and what you need to do to get better.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know everybody's got a lot of excitement for Linfield baseball this year. Starting the season Friday afternoon, PLU at noon, Puget Sound at 3:30, split doubleheader, then a day off on Saturday for the Whitman Blues are in town for 2 on Sunday. Wildcats will be opening conference play in full on March 1st here in McMinnville against those pesky George Fox Bruins. Coach?
You bet.
Thanks
Looking
for the time.
forward to it. Thank you.
Good luck this season.
All right. Thanks, fellas.